David's gratitude. One of the best thanksgiving psalms by David is Psalm 116. From the low ebb of his life he rises, and not only he gives thanks, but he also advises his soul and others to continue to give thanks to God. There was reason for David to give thanks to God. The Lord chose him to be the king over Israel even when he was a boy looking after his sheep. It was not until King Saul was removed from his throne by God that David possessed the crown to rule Israel, nor did David make haste to remove Saul from his kingship. He waited upon the Lord for many years, and when it was God's time, he accepted kingship and took over to reign over Israel. David was king over whole Israel and its people. His first victory, or even before he became king, was when he killed Philistine Giant Goliath when he was a boy of 12. In all David's victories over his enemies, God was with him. Yet when he committed sin, God did not spare him, and he said that the sword shall not depart from his house. God forgave David's sin, but did not spare him from paying its price, even though he asked for forgiveness for the sin he committed with Bathsheba and the conspiracy he devised to kill her husband Uriah. He had to see unwanted pregnancy in her. His first child was dead. His own son Absalom pursued him to kill. He was defeated once for numbering his army, that which was not pleasing to the Lord. Yet in all these times God did not leave him comfortless. In spite of all this, God said David was a man after his own heart. David was right with God, and he kept commandments and statutes of the Lord. David cried to the Lord in times of his needs, and God answered his prayers. He was thankful always to the Lord for the mercies he received from him. He acknowledged that the Lord heard his voice not because of his merits, but because of his love, and therefore he loved him. He continued to sing that the Lord inclined his ear unto him and heard his prayers. He said, therefore, that he will call upon the Lord as long as he lives. He said in other times, Psalm 11:1 reads, in the Lord put I my trust. How say ye to my soul, flee as a bird to your mountain. Psalm 16:10 reads, for thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. The thanksgiving that he offered to the Lord was not just because God did small things to him, but because Lord's hands got under him and lifted him when his death compassed him, and when the pains of hell got hold of him. He was relieved from troubles and sorrows, and it is then that he called upon the Lord, and the Lord answered his prayers. One such prayer was seen in 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 25. And now, O Lord God, the word that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant and concerning his house, establish it forever, and do as thou hast said. Psalm 7:29 says, therefore now let it please thee to bless the house of thy servant, that it may continue for ever before thee. For thou, O Lord God, hast spoken it, and with thy blessing let the house of thy servant be blessed forever. David committed himself to follow the Lord and kept his statutes. When David's son Solomon committed abomination before the Lord God, the Lord said to him that he did not keep the statutes of the Lord as David his father kept, and walked in the ways of the Lord. God rent the King Solomon's kingdom into two. David was blessed, and so was his kingdom. He realized how much he was taken care of by the Lord, and said, what shall I render unto the Lord for all his benefits towards me? I will take the cup of salvation and call upon the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows unto the Lord now in the presence of all his people. Psalms 116:12-14. This message is written and brought to you by Leslie John.